What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're playing a little bit of a hypothetical game here. This is if the trade goes through between the Miami Dolphins and the Washington Redskins, and how the Lions draft will look if it does happen. So let's get it started. It's kind of different, but I think it's really interesting and it's something that we need to talk about because it's going on right now. Now, like I said, hypothetical, because there is a chance, there's actually, I'd say a 50-50 shot that this doesn't actually happen. And the Redskins and the Dolphins don't make a trade. And if that is the case and they don't make a trade, then none of this means anything. But for the time being, with rumors that are out there now, I might as well talk about it now. That way, if anything goes through, well, at least we already talked about it. And yeah, that way it's still relevant. So we're going to be looking at what the Lions would do if the trade actually goes through. So right now, the Cincinnati Bengals, stay sit at number 1, and they're going to take Joe Burrow. I don't think there's any question about that. There's no really trade talk about that moving on that spot. They could get a lot in return. Possibly they could trade with Miami. That would mix things. Whoa, that would mix things up for sure. But let's just assume they're going to take Joe Burrow. Now it's the 2 spot where everything starts to get interesting. So right now, the Redskins sit there, and the thought is they're going to take Chase Young, but they don't necessarily need an edge rusher, so offensive line makes sense for them. So why would they trade up now unless they want to replace Dwayne Haskins? But if they believe in Dwayne Haskins, then it really doesn't make sense to be sitting at number 2. So the thought is right now, the rumor is that the Dolphins are looking to trade up. And in that case, the Dolphins would own the 2nd pick in the draft. Now, the Dolphins are probably not trading up for an edge rusher. There is a chance they could be trading up for Chase Young. There's a good chance that they're also not doing that because that doesn't look like their biggest need whatsoever. That's not their biggest need. They have other things they have to worry about. Unless they love Chase Young, then I guess I could see them doing it. But the thought is here they're going to take a quarterback. Now, another thought is it's going to be Tua Tagovailoa. There's not a lot of thought that it's going to be Justin Herbert, especially if they trade up. Now, Herbert could be their pick at 5, but there's really no thought of Herbert going anywhere, before 5. So why would they trade up if they wanted Justin Herbert? Just wouldn't make any sense. They would just be losing out on their own stuff. So they're trading up to get Tua to be safe from us and I guess the Giants, even though the Giants are going to do it. So really just from us. They're just trying to ignore us, try to be safe from us picking him because, they may be thinking the Lions will do it. So they sit at 2 spots. So the Dolphins take Tua Tagovailoa. Now it's our turn. Sitting at number 3, we have the board looking a lot different than it did before. Before, it looked like Tua Tagovailoa, Isaiah Simmons, Derek Brown, Jeffrey Okudah, and those were your guys, maybe an offensive lineman, but now it looks a lot different. With Miami now in front of you and not looking to trade up with you, and Chase Young also on the board as well, with Tua off of the board. So it gets rid of a threat. It gets rid of a trade back threat in Tua Tagovailoa. But there still is a few trade threats on the board for the Detroit Lions. Trade back threats, that is. One trade back, obviously, Chase Young. Chase Young is going to be sitting in at number 3. If Lions don't think they need an edge rusher as bad as maybe they need a defensive tackle, maybe as bad as they need an offensive lineman, I don't know, any other position, corner, whatever it may be. If they don't think it's as big as that, then the Lions have the opportunity to look at this and say, okay, maybe we'll trade out of this spot. Because I think everybody at that point would be thinking, all right, Chase Young, they're going to go Chase Young. But then the Lions may have the opportunity to trade back and add more still, but trading for, a potential different player. Okay, teams aren't going to be trading up at this point for Tua because he's already gone. They're trading up for Chase Young. Now, what teams could that be? Well, I think the most popular one in my eyes would be the Giants. It would be weird, but the Giants could try to move up 1 spot because they currently sit at number 4. So the Giants could try to move up with the Lions, take what is their biggest need, an edge rusher in Chase Young. That would make sense. If he was sitting there, I think they would at least reach out to the Lions. That's the first option for Detroit. They could try to trade back with the Giants. Now, they don't have the beautiful assets that the Dolphins do, but they could try to trade up with the Detroit Lions. Other team, possibly a team like the Falcons, but they are so down the line. Yes, they need an edge rusher, but they're so far away. I just feel like they would have to give up so much to make it happen. It just isn't very realistic unless they gave us like a great player or something. I just don't see it happening otherwise. That was my computer. I'm not sure why that happened. Okay, so I don't see that happening. So really, you have Chase Young. Now, who else is on the board they could trade back for? Well, you could also trade back because Justin Herbert is still available. So as Herbert, I think his stock could be rising because, again, quarterbacks, everybody needs one, right? So you're trying to find your quarterback. And who needs a quarterback? Well, at number 6, we have the Chargers, and they're interesting as heck to me. Now, usually they wouldn't be super interesting, but I do think the Redskins could make them a little bit interested. So the thought is that, okay, we might take Tua, so the Dolphins are worried to trade up. Then why wouldn't they get worried that we might take Justin Herbert? Could we take Justin Herbert? Now, that would mean that maybe the Redskins, possibly, the Redskins are sitting in front of the Chargers, and the Chargers want Herbert. Well, the Redskins moved back out of their spot. So clearly, they weren't all in to getting Chase Young, right? They didn't care that much. So at that point, maybe the Chargers are thinking, oh snap, we got to get a quarterback. but Justin Herbert might not be there because of the Redskins. So maybe, I know this is a stretch, guys, but maybe they look to trade up to make sure that they get Justin Herbert. This would be a wild draft if that would happen. So that's your first thing, trading back. The second option, simple. You draft Chase Young. If Chase Young is there, now again, guys, we're keeping this hypothetical if this trade happens. If this happens, you take Chase Young. That's your second option. I mean, best edge rusher in the draft, crazy statistical numbers. I love Chase Young. I know a lot of people were tanked for Chase when the season was going on, and he could have the opportunity to be sitting there. And if he is sitting there because this trade happens, that'd be your second option. Just take him. Now, this one kind of goes back to the trade back, or you could stay there. Jeffrey Okudah is the one guy that I think the Lions would stay for. If there's anybody they would stay for not named Chase Young, that is Jeffrey Okudah. I still think you would want to trade back because you don't need to take him there. I think Okudah's the only guy because the Giants may have some interest. But if whoever you take, the Giants can just take the other one. So the Giants are actually sitting in a pretty position as well if this happens. Because if they don't, say the Lions take Chase Young, then Jeffrey Okudah's going to be 4. If the Lions take Jeffrey Okudah, then Chase Young's going to be 4. So they're kind of sitting in a really good situation here. They're really hoping this trade happens as well. So Isaiah Simmons, Derek Brown, 2 guys I really like. Those would be your trade back options. Those aren't guys, offensive line, those aren't guys that I think that you set at 3 for because it doesn't make any sense. But the trade back is a lot different if Tua goes off the board before we're even on the board. Chase Young is then the team. So now we're talking about different teams that need an edge rusher that would be looking to trade up, or possibly teams that are trying to get ahead and take Justin Herbert because he was still there. So what option would you do? Personally, I would love to take Chase Young, but I also wouldn't be mad with trading back. I know it's crazy. I think I would take Chase Young, but if you got a really good deal in return for a team like the Giants that really wants an edge rusher, and if they gave you a lot of assets, then maybe you could just back up with the Giants and be like, you know what? All right, you take Chase Young. We still got all of our prospects out there anyways, and we still acquired picks. Not mad about it. We'll take it. So that's if the trade happens. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but that is the rumor right now. So there you go. Those are, I think, your main options. I don't think I'm missing anything there. If you guys have any thoughts, let me know in the comments below, but let me know which option that you would go for. Thank you for watching. There's really no right or wrong answer because we don't know if this is going to happen, but we'll see if it does. It should be really interesting, and if it does, a lot of things are going to be crazy. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.